My name is Robert Ochieng. I'll be your host tonight, and I'm representing the Abojani team. We've worked so hard in partnership with Sanlam Allianz to bring to you a very, very important topic. In fact, the most important topic in money management, which is time value of money, and it's part of the celebration of our 80th Abojani Masterclass. So again, for Abojani community members, let me know which Masterclass you went through. And I hope now we are talking some numbers, because remember, personal finance is about numbers, and that's why we are here. So this masterclass, they started in November of 2018, and we've been running them since then, 10 months in a year. So we are very, very excited to go through today's session. And the main objective, ladies and gentlemen, is just to go back to the basics, because if you remember the basics, then you'll be able to connect your life goals with your personal finances, which is what money management and investment should be for all of us here. So one thing that we said that we are going to do is to bring for you the best. So when I talk about Sanlam Allianz, if you don't remember anything about them, just remember the sentence that I'm about to say, is that they're the largest non-bank financial services company in Africa. And they'll talk more about themselves. They're in 27 African countries. And with Allianz now, it connects even to global. So Isaac and Gerald are here to share that with us. And like I've always told you, network matters, because you have to be closer to where the money is. Yeah, so that's very, very important. Be closer to where the money is in terms of individuals, in terms of brands, and your investment IQ will rise over time and you'll be able to do well. So without further ado, I want to introduce Gerald, who is from Sanlam Allianz. So he'll take you through the first session. And note that this is known as a Demina. So what a Demina means is a demonstration webinar. So since you are very sophisticated people having gone through the masterclass, you don't want a lot of theories. We want to take you straight to the point, like how do I achieve this goal of school fees 3 to 4 years from now, retirement, home ownership, with numbers, so that when you go back then now you can re-strategize, or if you're already doing stuff, you can see how to reposition your portfolio. So Gerald is head of retail distribution at Sanlam Allianz. So he's an accomplished financial services industry professional and retail distribution expert with over 20 years of experience in the insurance and telecommunication industries, and is currently the head of retail distribution at Sanlam Allianz Life Assurance here in Kenya, and he has held various positions in other companies over 16 years, in companies such as Mutual, Liberty, and Madison. So he's like the definition of an insurance professional. And his education, he has master's in MBA from the University of Nairobi. And in his undergrad, he did information science from Moi University. So he's completed various leadership courses and programs, including Sanlam Emerging Market Leadership Program at the University of Stellenbosch Business School in South Africa, and the New Managers Leadership Program at Strathmore Business School. He's currently pursuing a leadership, coaching, and mentorship program. And he also holds diploma in insurance, that's IIK, along with various certifications. So he's quite certified in the field, and is also a certified mediator, having completed certified professional mediators course with DCRI. So he's an avid Arsenal supporter. I know he had to tell us that since they just won the league the other day, and loves networking during round of golf, while advising the people interact with on the best financial freedom solution for a bold future. So thank you. Welcome, Gerald. The floor is all yours. Take it all away.
Okay. Thank you very much, Robert. And the last part of Arsenal is not because they won the league. I have been there suffering for 20 years, but finally it came home. So it's a bit of patience, just like our money, and now we want our money to work for us. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and the panelists that are here with me this evening. It's a great honor to spend some time out of your busy schedule to dedicate a few minutes to listen to one or two items that we need to discuss this evening. in this particular session. My name is Gerald Cheruiyot, the head of retail distribution at Sanlam Allianz Life, as Robert has mentioned. And I think the bio speaks for itself. So this evening, it seems like you might, if you've gone to those business schools, business classes, the time value of money is one of those financial fundamentals that are usually taught in school, either in undergraduate, whether in a diploma, whether in university, in an MBA. It's key because it talks about when somebody looks at this topic, they will feel like they're in class, but that is not the case. It's something that we've seen that people don't realize the importance of the time value of money. If you were to go back to your fundamentals of financial management or financial economics that you were taught in school, you'll realize that there was a present value and there's a future value of money. But when it came to the calculations of those particular numbers during exams, all those things that you were taught tend to disappear, the same way our money does when we have them. So we have money now, then tomorrow it's not there. So the discussion for today is to deal with time value of money and what can we do as a business, as Sanlam Allianz, to help you. We'll give you a guidance, and then my colleague Isaac will step in to do the demi and the demonstrations of how we can be able to see. So let me go straight into my presentation. So the first question I will ask you, if you've joined this webinar, it means that we call it a deminar. I think that's a new term. We've gotten it from Robert. This deminar is a simple question that we ask people, and if you can type at the chat box and see. Maybe you can give some few answers. At the end of every month, at the end of every week, at the end of every day, if you're a business person, you get money. What happens to this money that you get? I'm not sure I can be able to see the charts, but I'll be able to maybe see if somebody has an answer, something. What happens to this money that we get? Most people, I always ask, when you work at the end of the month, at the end of the week, at the end of the day, the money that you get, does that money really belong to you or does it belong to somebody else? Is that money yours? Because at the end of the month, say, I work so hard, this is the money that I have. But in reality, if you look at it, you'll be quite surprised where your money goes to. And we know various places. Yes.
Gerard, sorry, some answers here, just to read for you.
Okay.
Leila says invest. Jolene says they spend and save. Eunice says they spend.
Okay, so at least some people are interacting with me. That's good to hear. So let's see. I think somebody has mentioned saving. Some people have said spending, but in reality, you will note that how many people depend on this money? Number one, I think we have our spouses that depend on us. Either your wife or your husband, you have security people that depend on you and that money that you earn. There's a church that depends on it. You have house workers that depend on this money. There's the water industry that depends on you. There's the in-laws, if you have in-laws that depend on you. You have the government, the number one dependent on you. We have shopping and a lot of malls here within Nairobi and across the country sprouting at each particular corner. We have malls where we do a lot of shopping, a lot of buying, a lot of entertainment. Our phones take up a lot of time and a lot of our money. The gas station prices of fuel have gone skyrocketed to an all-time high. I think taking a lot of money. We have electricity that is depending on you. We have our parents who are depending on us as well. We have friends that depend on us. We have the music industry that we need to listen to. We need to entertain ourselves. We have the car industry. Either you're using transport, you're using a private means that also needs you. We have mechanics who need to fix one or two things about your vehicle, the houses that need to be fixed. We have the hospitals. We need to pay bills. Sometimes we say that we do have a medical cover provided either by yourself, by your employer, but sometimes you'll find that this medical cover runs out, that you need to chip in to pay for some items. Some items are not covered in hospital. You have the entertainment. It's up a bit of a chunk of some monies these days. If you look at the generation that is, I think from the ages of 25 all the way to 55, 60 and above these days, you can see a lot of entertainment joints sprouting up in all corners, year in, year out, and they never seem to end. Learning institutions, we need to take care of our education. We need to take care of our children's education. We need to take care of people that need us and depend on us in terms of education. Then we have thieves, and I like to stop here at the thieves. Why? Because these guys depend on you. If it were not for your hard work, they will not be there because there will be nothing to be stolen. So you should clap for yourself and be happy because you are building a society. And also we have landlords who depend on you. We have mortgages that we need to pay. that also depend on you. The question that I ask, in all this discussion of everyone that is depending on you, where are you in this discussion? Have you ever sat down and asked myself, I earn 100,000, and at the end of the month, how much have I paid myself from this hard work that I have done for the last 30 days, 31 days, 28 days, be it February? What is it that I have done for myself? Where do I count? I think I had somebody saying I put a bit of saving. Maybe you consider it to be saving, but maybe it is what is left after you have paid all these people who depend on you. But if you are purposely putting your money aside for a specific reason, and you will see as we move on, you will realize you are closer towards achieving one or two goals that you've set for yourself in life. But then again, if you're not, in most cases is maybe the money for this month remained a bit, and you say that is a saving, but maybe next month when it comes, it will be wiped out because of many other elements that are depending on you. Why plan for your finances? One of the key things that we talk about, and the reason why we need to plan for our finances, is managing an efficient budget. Everything can be budgeted for. All those items that we've mentioned in the previous slide, including the entertainment, needs to be budgeted for. The reason for why you need a plan for your finances is so that you do not go out of turn. It's not an easy item to achieve, but it's something that you can be able to do. It's a matter of planning what you need to do on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis. And if you stick to that plan, you'll be on the right path towards financial freedom. The second thing that you need to think about is one, legacy and succession planning. We are here today. If you have a family, if you're planning to start a family in the future, if you're not yet there are still things that you need to think about, because time here is what is going to determine how much you can be able to build as a legacy and in terms of succession planning. Because, and I think as Isaac will show you as we go on into this particular presentation, is that it is not easy to build a legacy. It is not easy to have resources available to give an inheritance to our children's children. But we can show you a way where you can get closer to that particular dream. But most importantly, I think it's planning for retirement, because people are living longer. The health services are doing better. It means if we're living longer, it means that more people will be there after retirement. And you can see in most institutions that if you're an employee, most retirement ages 60, 65. If you are in government, maybe as a judge, go to 72, thereabout. But then again, if the life expectancy, and we're seeing people living up to 100 years, what will you do? If you retire from 60 to the ages of 80, the next 20 years, what will you be doing? We don't want you to retire. We want you to repurpose your life and do something meaningful, because you will have had the resources saved up to get to that goal. But then again, what can you be able to do? How can we help you to grow passive income without hustling? Because in most cases, you'll find that people will say that I would rather, say from my community, we will say, I will try and go and do farming. I'll try and do farming for maize. I will try and do farming of cows. I will try and do coffee. I will try and do chicken. I will try and do so many other things. I will try to build rental houses. I will try to do this and this. I will try to start a business. That is all about trying, but you're putting in a lot of effort, but with the results that comes out of it sufficient enough to call it passive income. Sometimes we do businesses and activities just to pass time, hoping that one day it will be a success. But in most cases, if you look at statistics, 70% of businesses fail within the first 6 months. Very few businesses tend to succeed over a period of many years. Because if you look at it, and if you look at the generation of businesses, how many have been able to be successful? You've seen the changes that have gone on across the countries. The brands that you saw when you were a child and the brands that are here today are not the same. So it means that we want to create passive income without having much hassle in what we are doing and from the income. And that is the part of what we will show you, because the time value of money says that the money that you have today will not be sufficient tomorrow. And why is that? Because the money that we have today is lost to inflation, because inflation is the key thing that reduces the purchasing power. A shilling today will likely be worthless in years because of inflation. And if you look at some of the things that we can say, if you can remember 2-3 presidents ago, you can see the price of unga, ugali. How much was unga in the supermarkets? How much was maize, a bag of maize? How much was bread? And then you can see, this is the inflation index as per the central bank. As at the end of June, you can see beef has gone up, cooking oils have gone up. Basically, food has gone up, sifted maize has gone down, and aromatic white rice has gone slightly down, sugar slightly, has big time gone down. But I don't know if it is because of everyone being on diet, everyone is taking tea these days without sugar. So maybe the demand for sugar has gone lower. But I know for the factories, they need it. But if you look at the common basics, the overall non-core items like tomatoes have gone up, by 40%. Diesel went up by 29%. Cabbages, basic things, petrol went up. Electricity has slightly gone down below 50 kilowatts. And for above 200 kilowatts, it has gone down. So, but in a nutshell, what it means is that everything is rising every other day. So if today you have 100,000 and you keep it for the next 10 years without doing anything, will literally be worth what you're looking for. If today you're paying school fees in one of the best schools in the country, will it be sufficient in the next 10 years if you start a family? Will it be enough to take care of the needs that you have today? Will you have enough resources to take care of you? These days, I can see a tomato goes for 30, 40 shillings per piece. Back then, at 30 shillings, maybe you'll have maybe half a sack, maybe 10, 20 years ago. But then again, will we be the people? And I think it's a common statement that we always see. Where were our parents or our grandparents when people were acquiring property here and there? Don't be that person that your grandchildren or your children will say, where was my dad, where was my mom when people were acquiring property or saving up to such kind of situation? Because this is the opportunity today to make sure that you get there and ensure that you grow. So inflation is the biggest eroder of your money today. So what is the key item for you to do to ensure that you are not losing money? The most important thing is you must look for an investment that always beats inflation. It has to be higher than 6.4% wherever you're investing, and it must make sense in what it is guaranteeing or giving you. And that's why we will discuss as we move on why you need a guarantee in the future that can be able to take care of your needs. Then, if you're doing your goal, it's a very simple thing. It's financial goal based on investing and beating inflation. Number one, you have to have an emergency fund. And we always say an emergency fund is something at least 3 to 6 times your salary or your monthly expenses. So if my monthly expenses is 100,000, for example, then for an emergency fund, I need to have some money set aside in an emergency fund, either 300,000 or 600,000. The more, the better for you, because it means that in case of an emergency, you can be able to handle that particular situation and handle your expenses at that particular time between 3 to 6 months as you plan yourself to get out of that quagmire that you've gotten yourself in. Because emergencies are not something that you have planned for. We can plan for everything. You can have a proper medical cover. You can have proper insurance cover. You can have everything in place. But some emergencies are beyond our control. And society tends to find a way of getting us to that particular situation. Then we look at the next important thing maybe is children's education. It's one of the most expensive things that is coming up. This can be one of the goals that you're looking at. It can be annual fees for primary, high school, colleges, and universities. You want your child to go to an Ivy school, and I think I saw a discussion on social media the other day, taking your child to an Ivy school, not even an Ivy school, just a basic school maybe in Europe or in Australia, maybe the US, will cost you upwards of 12 million. By the time this particular child finishes school, will you be better prepared to get to that 12 million by then? And if you're in that particular situation, don't you think it is wise to plan for that now so that when that day comes, you do not have to worry when age has caught up and you need to get there faster? But then again, you need to think about long-term planning. You need to think about retirement. You need to think about leaving your legacy. You need to think about building an estate. This is long-term thinking. Do you have enough for your monthly expenses for the next 20, 30 years when you will not have a paycheck coming your way? You will not have any other business coming your way. You will not have an income coming your way. So when you're looking at your goals, either you need it within a year, you need it between 5 to 10 years, it's a medium term, or between 10 to 20 years, that is long term, to ensure that is there. So step one, identify specific goals you want to achieve. Write it down if you have a notebook. What are these specific goals you want to achieve? And by when? Be it, is it short term, is it medium term, or long term? Then step two, determine which amounts you wish to invest. I think Isaac will give a demonstration on what needs to be done. Identify a figure and commit to a lump sum or consistent top-ups. So you can decide either you want to do it on a monthly basis, quarterly basis, or a one-off. If you're a businessman and you do maybe a motor vehicle business, you sell a vehicle today, tomorrow, you've made $1 million, 2, 3 million in this business. Maybe you're a trader, you've made some money. Maybe you're a lawyer, you've gotten some fees paid. Maybe you're an architect, you've gotten some fees paid. Instead of using that to sustain some lifestyle, maybe you can use it to put aside a lump sum amount and say, this is the amount I'm dedicating for my child's education, for my retirement, for my emergency fund, and we will show you how much this money will grow at the end of the period that you've selected. Because you say the long-term period is between 5 to 10 years to 20 years. And then step three, evaluate suitable investment options for each goal. because we have various goals that are there and there are various items that we need to look at. But the most important thing is evaluate. And during this demonstration, you will see what will be more meaningful to you as an individual. Then consider your risk tolerance, return, time, and taxes. The beauty about a life insurance business is that we do not tax. Most investments that are there have an element of tax between 5% and 15% withholding tax. So it means that we have a tax relief for 15%, which is a benefit that is given. And looking at all this, we came up with a fantastic product. I think that we launched the other day. And, it's the newest product in the market, the most sophisticated product in the market, the product with the best flexibility ever created in all my working years. I think I mentioned over 20 years and 16 years in insurance. This is one of those amazing products that has been created by Sanlam Allianz. I don't think there'll be any other anytime soon. But why are we saying it's an amazing product? Because number one, it gives you the opportunity to invest. It gives you a disciplined way of saving, and it gives you a discount when you're saving. Why are we saying it gives you a disciplined way? Because once you start this particular program, it means that you have to regularly contribute to it towards achieving your goal. Meaning that if you had put money in a bank account or any other form of investment, be it in a money market fund or be it in a SACCO, chances of you going to that particular account, withdrawing that money, chances of you going to your money market account and M-Pesa and withdrawing it is very fast. In the SACCO, getting that money is very easy. But here you are getting a disciplined way of saving. But the most important thing is that we give you discounts if you pay on a semi-annual basis, on a quarterly basis, or on an annual basis at 4%, 6%, and 8% discount. Meaning that if you save on an annual basis, I give you an 8% discount. What does it mean? It means more returns to your investment. If you pay at semi-annual basis, you get 6% more into your pocket in terms of returns. But the most important thing is that this is one of those particular investment products that guarantees you a specific amount at a particular point you have selected. It gives you guaranteed returns and guaranteed payouts. If I tell you I'm going to give you 10 million in 10 years' time, that is a 10 million. It's not a matter of fluctuation of prices, fluctuation of interest rates, fluctuation of rolls or lows of the country that makes you not get your return. The moment you get to this particular product, you are sure. It ensures that you protect your assets. Why do we say it protects your assets? Because this is an investment that you have. You've put in your money there. It is safe and secure. Unlike physical assets, maybe you put it in a farm. Maybe the drought can come. Maybe you have property. Anything can happen to that particular property. So this protects what you have. Flexibility. What we mean by flexibility here, we're saying the customer either can pay on a monthly basis, or if you feel like I don't want to pay these regular premiums that usually are called upon from a payslip from the bank or from M-Pesa, I can put in a lump sum, like I mentioned earlier, and I say, this is something I have made, can I put money here? And how much will I get at the end of this particular period? It helps you get there. But then most importantly, it keeps your plans and goals on track, because I know I need my child to go to Yale, I need my child even as basic as Strathmore University, or Nairobi University, or any other university within Kenya. And you will see that you have put your goals. Maybe you just a young man in the field, maybe in the next 5 years, I need to buy and upgrade my car to the best, maybe Audi vehicle, maybe I want to buy a Mercedes Benz, maybe I want to buy even a Range Rover. That is a goal that you've set for yourself, and this is the goal that you're saving towards that achievement of that. Maybe you want to build a home, maybe you want to buy a piece of farm. You are setting a track record that will help you get to that goal easier. Then most importantly is, why invest? Stop money losses through unplanned spending. Because the moment you have cash, and I always use this example, if today my mom called me and asked me, hey, my son, please send me 10,000. And maybe I have 20,000 on my M-Pesa. Chances are highly likely that I will send the 10,000. But if my mom called me and I did not have 20,000 in my M-Pesa, I maybe had 6,000 in my M-Pesa, I will tell my mom, hey, mom, I don't have 10,000 now. I only have 3,000 or the 6,000 or 5,000 that I will give you. Because one, before I took this money to myself, I had already put aside these investments toward achieving this goal. But then again, because I have that surplus amount in my pocket, chances are, tendencies are, I will see that nice shoe, I will go. I will see that nice club that has been opened in Kilimani, I will want to go to. I will see that restaurant that has been created, I will want to go and see. I will see that hidden gem that I need to go and visit that tells us that the hidden gem is 1,000, but when I go there and I spend my money, I spend 10,000, which is no longer a hidden gem. So you see, because I have the liquidity, I will get there and I will spend this money that is loose in my pocket. But that is the first vision. The second vision, when creating this particular product, we saw that we want to grow your income, not just like any other form of investment, but we want to have a product that is competitive as compared to any other investment in the market, be it money market, be it the bank deposit, be it collective investment schemes. And you can see we will give you a guarantee that is exceptional. So we want to accumulate this cash that you have over time as you enjoy premium. One of the fantastic elements that has been added to this particular product is that you can enjoy premium holidays every January. What does that mean? If you're paying premiums on a monthly basis, then we have designed it in such a manner that you do not have to pay premiums in January. So your premiums have already been discounted, so you will have no need to worry about January. As you're worrying about paying school fees, as you're worrying about any other hassles after the festivities, you will not require to pay any premiums in January if you're paying on a monthly basis. But if you're paying on any other mode, either quarterly, semi-annually, or single premium, the factor in has already been done in the calculation of those particular premiums. So if you're paying annually, what does it mean? If it comes January, you will not need to pay the annual premium. You will need to pay. You can pay it in February to get you there. Then it is a stable investment portfolio that guarantees you a return. Then at the end of it all, once you've contributed this money for, let's say, a period of 10 years, at the end of the 10 years, you can either select to get your money partially. So maybe if you're selecting an education for this, the goal is the education policy. You will say, I don't want after 10 years to give me the full amount that I've accumulated. Give me in bits, maybe in 4 years, maybe in 2 years or in 3 years. We'll give you the flexibility of receiving this money in 4 equal installments so that you can use it to pay for education of your child, be it university, be it senior secondary, for that particular element. But as the money stays with us, in that particular 4 period that we are waiting for, it will be growing at an additional interest rate of 7%. And I think Isaac will show you as we move on. Then definitely the aspect of compounding interest will grow your money faster than the withdrawing. Then finally is looking at how do you achieve. Number one, the objective of this particular Flexi Future Plus is to ensure you achieve your goals. Fund big life goals, because the objective of thinking about the future is I want my goals to be big, I want them to be audacious, and I want them to be beautiful so that I can be able to live that dream life that I wanted, that big house, that beautiful family, that beautiful school my children are going to. But it cannot come without a plan. It has to come through a plan. So fund big goals like education, vacations, and retirement is most important. But then again, the beauty about this particular product, we understand that people get through some financial difficulties. If you're a businessman, maybe you had given us 10 million. But then again, in between maybe a year or two, a business deal comes in that requires you to have 5 million. Instead of coming to withdraw your 10 million that you've put in this investment for that big goal that you have, we can give you a policy loan at a very competitive interest rate with the market without going through much of the hassles. So maybe you can say that I put 10 million in this account. I can know in 10 years time, if I put 10 million, I maybe get 20, 26 million there, about the demonstration will be seen. What do I need to do? Just come to us, Sanlam Allianz, say I need this amount of money. We can give you up to 70% of the amount that is in your account. So if you have 10 million, you have 7 million that you can get as a loan to help you get a deal, and then you pay for that particular loan. We will not hassle you. See, by right now, if you need 5 million or 2 million or 3 million from your SACCO, from the bank, from microfinance, it will be a lot of hassle, because for a SACCO, you need to fill like 10 forms, guarantors to get you money. From the bank, you need to have a lot of forms filled. If you go to other forms of investments, it will be hassle, and the interest rate that you're going to pay is going to be crazy. But then again, we've given you the leeway. Put in money, let it grow. But in case of an emergency, you need money, we can give you a loan of up to 70% of the surrender value that you have, the amount of money that is in your account. So if you've put in 10 million today with us, you're guaranteed at any given time, with just a click of a button and an application, you have your money to help you come throughout. You don't need to cancel policies like the old days that I must cancel my policy so that I get my money back so that I can be able. No, we just make your work easier. Just make sure that tell us, I just need 2 million. We give you the 2 million. You go and do your business. Then we tell you just pay small premiums so that you can return this money back to your account, then we also give you the flexibility of reducing that sum assured that you have. If you're 10 million and you need to reduce it by 2 million, 3 million, well and good. But at the same time, if you want to top up more money in that particular account, nothing is stopping you from topping money into that particular account. So it makes it a more flexible, enjoyable insurance product that has not been seen in this particular business. But then again, the beauty and why I'm very confident that we can say that we can outdo most of the investments in the market is, as much as all other investments, actually all other investments have a withholding tax element of 15%. It is only in insurance where we give you a tax relief of 15%. So we give you money back. By giving you money back, what does it mean? It means that the amount of money that you actually pay and the amount of money that you actually get will always be much higher than any other form of investment that exists in the market. That is the beauty about buying an insurance product, and gives you them. But the most important thing is it gives you peace of mind. Why does it give you peace of mind? Because one of the most important things that we forget as Kenyans is that we look after every other element. We look after our family, we look after our children, we look after our property. Everything else is protected. But who protects the person that is the source of all that is there, which is you? If you forget you, all other things are meaningless, because you are the source of all this happiness, you're the source of all these resources, you are the factor that is running behind to get these things done. But then again, when it comes to protecting yourself, when it comes to saving for yourself, when it comes to thinking about yourself, you do not think about it. But now with the Flexi Future Plus, you have the investment component and you have the protection element that comes in. And as you move on, the peace of mind is created in this particular aspect. It gives you the guaranteed element of your investment with a good return, very competitive than any other investment. But at the same time, we know the circumstances of life and what happens in life. In life, life is not certain. And I think I heard the other day that the only things that you cannot go chasing after is love and death. They will either find you or you will find them. So if you know those are the things that are going to get you, what do you need to do? Number one, if you take this particular policy, it has a guaranteed maturity benefit, like I've mentioned, with 4 payouts. There is waiver of premium on death. What does that mean? If, for example, Gerald has taken a policy, I said, this is a policy I want to put aside for my daughter Chebet, so that Chebet, at the time she gets to this particular age, I want her to go to this particular school. So I'm targeting, maybe I want to take her to Brookhouse. I need to get to pay $1 million on a monthly basis or an annual basis or on a quarterly basis. So maybe my goal will be, how do I get $1 million at the end of the year? I'll say, okay, those are the plans, those are the vision that I had for Chebet. But then again, anything can happen in between this life. We can be called to the land of milk and honey. And if you're called there, what happens? What happens to the policy that I had in place? That is where now Sanlam Allianz comes in and pays the outstanding the premiums that I was contributing on a monthly basis until the maturity of this particular policy, and the wishes that I had for my Chebet are actually achieved. Why? Because the waiver of premium has kicked in. So if my contribution on a monthly basis was 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, or even 100,000, the company will take it upon itself to pay the outstanding premiums for me until my Chebet gets to the dream that I was dreaming for that beautiful girl of mine. So what does it mean? It means that you're not supposed to worry. I will have peace of mind. All I know is that if I am alive, I'll be very happy to take Chebet to school. If I will not be there, I know Sanlam Allianz got me covered, and I will be able to take my beautiful Chebet to school, because it will pay for me my premiums. It will ensure my dream for Chebet goes on. But then again, I don't want to go anywhere. I want to see my children's children and my greatest children. I think 3 generations will be great if God gives us and grants us these wishes. But then again, there's simple things that happen to us that are day to day. And we will be there and we will see them. I think that is always my greatest fear. What happens when I'm alive? When I'm gone, maybe most Kenyan societies will say the family will take care of that. My siblings, my parents, or my friends will step in and take care of me. But then again, there are circumstances where I will be alive and I will be seeing all these things happening. One of those situations, I will need waiver of premium in case of critical illness. Because with critical illness, I am alive, I am going through a process. My medical cover most probably will take care of me for the first year, second year, maybe it will not be renewed, then the third year, maybe I'll be suffering. Where will I get this policy? I have bought in an investment, it has guaranteed maturity. But then again, if I take this particular product and this particular benefit is optional to the client, is not inbuilt in the policy, is optional, and I select the waiver of premium on critical illness, just in case, God forbid, I get any form of critical illness, the organization will give me 50% of the sum assured that I have selected. as compensation to help me take care of my well-being. Remember, this is regardless of the guaranteed maturity value that I have given you. So in case anything happens like critical illness, assuming it's 10 million, you have 50%, that is 5 million to go and seek medication, seek treatment on top of what you already have. So what we're saying is that this is important for you. Then again, we have simple things as permanent disabilities. It's a simple, it can be caused either through an accident or through natural causes. A simple thing as just changing a light bulb in the house can make you trip and make sure that you do not get there. And in insurance, how do we define permanent disability? Anything that can stop you from earning your income. Because remember, this savings is dependent on the income that you're making. So if I am a salesperson and I lose my voice, then it means that I am permanently and totally disabled because I am unable to pitch a sale to my people until I relearn maybe new skills of pitching a sale. Then means I'll be disabled and I'm permanently and totally disabled. Then I'll be paid. If it's through natural causes, I'll be given 100% of my sum assured. And if it's through accidental causes, I'll be given 200% of that particular sum assured. Then it means I'll be able to take care. But then again, as a working folk, there's one of those things that we're afraid of. And like business people, entrepreneurs, SMEs, their worry sometimes is they hope that their business does not fail, it succeeds. As an employer or an employee, the biggest fear that you have as an employee is to be retrenched from work, because retrenchment is something that you have not planned for. Because retrenchment comes in such a manner that you're given a letter, you're shown why the business needs to downsize, why your role is no longer important. But it has to be specifically retrenchment, not being fired. Because if you are to be fired, internally I always tell people to be honest of yourself. Mtu akufutwa anaonekananga, anajijua hata mwenyewe atafutwa. But then again, retrenchment, you do not know why or what happened or why your job was declared redundant and all those things. But then again, on retrenchment, what this particular policy says, we will give you a premium holiday. We'll give you a premium waiver, and we will not request you to pay premiums for a period of 6 months if you're paying on a monthly basis or a quarterly basis or an annual basis. So we'll give you a retrenchment cover of 6 months, where we're saying you don't need to stop your policy, you don't need to struggle paying for your normal utilities, normal expenses. Just step aside. We got you covered for 6 months. Go relax. As you figure yourself out, as you figure new opportunities out, here is an opportunity for you to Sanlam Allianz to pay for your premiums for a period of 6 months to ensure that you're covered. Then finally, we said, okay, this is me. This is Gerald taking care of this particular business. I have saved for my children. I have saved for my audacious goals. But then again, I have people that depend on me. And if anything was to happen to them, I will still be worried as the person taking this policy, as maybe the breadwinner of this particular family. You as a breadwinner of this particular family, what happens? I have a spouse. I have children. I am concerned about them. So if something was to happen, you can actually include with the Flexi Future, and this is the flexibility we're talking about, you can include your spouse and say, I want to give my spouse a cover, but it is limited up to a maximum of 1 million. I also want to give my children a cover, a last expense cover for my children, up to 6 children. But then again, we've also considered other religions. Maybe some individuals have more than one spouse. We are allowing you to have even 2 spouses to be covered in this particular cover, because I know if anything was to happen to my spouse, the cost will come back to me. So we can give you up to a maximum of 1 million cover in case of death of that particular spouse. In case of permanent disability, again, up to a maximum of 1 million for that particular spouse. The same thing to critical illness, up to a maximum of 1 million for this particular main spouse. So it means that I am covering myself and my goal is focused. This is the goal that I had in mind: retirement, my child's education, that Range Rover that I'm thinking about, that house I want to build, that piece of land that I want to farm. But then again, we know life has unexpected circumstances. How can I be able to protect everything? So this particular product has encompassed everything that we wish to have in one. At the end of it all, every January, like I said, is a free market. So this is a free month that you don't need to pay premiums. So this is a market fast. And what does it ensure? It ensures that you get a guaranteed return on your investment and on the returns of the business that you do. So as I move on, let me just try and wind up. This is an example. If you want to save, and I think I will call in Isaac to step in and show us the illustration and demonstrations of what needs to be done. So this is just an simple illustration of, if I had 7,000 in 12 years, and I pay monthly, how much will I get at the end of 12 years? I'll get 1.5. That's a gain of 600. But at the same time, if I want to get 10 million in 12 years, what do I need to do? I need to put in 40,953 and I'll get 10 million. And I think Isaac will elaborate more as we talk about this. So we have guaranteed returns, secure and predictable and reliable, tax efficient. We told about withholding tax. Then we build your wealth and financial security into the future. And as I finalize, you can also look at this quotation. If you look at an example of Dr. Nduni, if they had 5 million today and they put it in the Flexi Future Plus, how much will they be able to gain at the end of 10 years? You'll see from 5 million that they've put in today, in 10 years' time, we will guarantee you 14,241,107 shillings. Isn't that wonderful? So I know I've taken a bit of time. Let me just hand it over to my colleague. And if there's any question, please, Robert, Isaac, you can guide me. Thank you very much. God bless all of you.
Thank you very much, Gerald. Great presentation. So we are going straight into the next part, which is the demonstration. And remember, the topic today is time value of money. For everyone who is here today, think 1 year, think 3 years, 10, 20, etc. And for all of us Abojani alumni, I want to challenge all of us to remember this, and this is factual. As we sit here, we are one country in Africa and we have 54 countries. So South Africa caters for about 69% of all the premium insurance premiums in Africa. Actually, I'm told it has crossed 70 something, but let's take around 60 to 70 something. So if you want to be a wealthy country, if you want to be a rich country and prosper, please protect the downsides. And I'm very confident that you have portfolios. So when you have portfolios, you don't think in a polarized way that you have to do this or that. A portfolio is to ensure that you have a buffet or bouquet of options. So there's the downside that you are protecting using insurance products. Very, very important, the ones that are aligned to your goal. And the long-term goals, they do suffer because of the short-term. Because short-term, we are emotional, we think about what is happening now. But 7 years from now, 20 years from now, we still have goals. So thank you very much, Gerald, for that insightful presentation. And we'd wish to have many more presentations on insurance, because I think that's something we've been not covering much in Abojani, but I believe it follows on investment, where we stand strong as a community. So thank you, and let's go now to Isaac. So Isaac is a very good friend of Abojani from a very long time, and we are very honored to have him now present to us the demonstration. So start thinking about your 3 years goal, 5 years goal, 10 years goal, so that now you match with the demonstration. Over to you, Isaac.
All right, fantastic. Thanks a lot, Robert. Thank you very much, Gerald, for a very elaborate discussion about the product. I'm going to park the product, and I think we're going to go into real conversation where math must math. And I think there's a term that Robert always uses, and I think this is a term we all know as investors, which says, time in the market always beats timing the market. And I think most importantly, as we'll go through the next conversation, we're going to really unpack what Albert Einstein talked about when he talked about a compounding interest. And I think we're going to show you the actual eighth wonder of the world, as he actually mentioned. So just to start us off, we've actually picked, I would say, very few scenarios to really drive the message home. And I just want to check on the chart. How many of us have money sitting in money market funds, SACCOs, bonds, bank accounts? So just drop a note on the chart, and I think Robert can pick a few. Let's see where the money is sitting, because the conversation that we're going to have shortly tonight is not about closing the portfolio that you have, but I think, as Robert accurately mentioned, what we want to do is help you reposition your portfolio to actually capture the gain on the upside. So I think without further ado, we will be switching between the presentation and real demonstration. That's why we have this demo now, so that at the end of the session, you'll be able to actually run a similar demonstration for yourself, set a dream for yourself, and actually begin to drive, of course, towards it. So Duncan, I think you can drop, most important, I think you can drop the link on the chat. And anyone interested, as we go through this session, you can actually run the numbers by yourself. And of course, we won't leave the accountants in the room. Please bring out your big calculators, and I think what you can do is fact check me as we go through this next exciting session. So critically, across the next slides, we will be speaking. As I said, we've actually picked a buffet of what we currently use within the market. And I think one of the fantastic thing the Abojani team has done is to really nurture a community that understands how do I accumulate money. And one of the easiest channels to actually accumulate money within the market currently is using the money market fund, which we've seen grow tremendously within the last, is it 5 years, Robert? And I mean, for us, we're going to use this as a demonstration to show you how you can actually, as Robert mentioned, blend a bouquet of what you currently have within that space, and then send your money to actually go and extract more value for you. So you're going to allow us to go through 3 key personas, because in Kenya, these are current discussions that we're seeing within the space. So we'll look at different personas. We'll look at somebody having an MMF account with around 2 million shillings. We'll look at somebody who's still a beginner within that ecosystem, having an MMF balance of 500 shillings, and without adding a shilling, how they can activate the product that, of course, Gerald spoke about. And at the end of the day, we'll be able to demonstrate to you that actually having a combination of both is going to actually give you more value. Again, we will also delve deeper and look at, of course, other scenarios that we have in the market. You've run a business, you've run employment, you've actually landed your tender, you're a tenderpreneur, you've landed your deal. And the key question you always ask yourself is, do I buy land? Do I buy that offline, of course, a studio house? Do I go for 1 bedroom, or do I just park my money and let my money work for it? I think we're going to look at those comparisons because one of the key things we want to really unlock as part of this conversation is that bit of how my money would look like in the next 5, 10, or even 20 years. But then again, we're not going to leave all the Gen Zs on the conversations. Those starting their careers, they don't yet have a portfolio, but most importantly, they're looking to kickstart the exciting journey into, of course, building liquidity, and most importantly, beginning to make their way and creating their own wealth portfolio. So we'll also look at you as our third persona as we go through the conversation. I think Gerald mentioned something very important. I think this is something that we all need to start off with as investors. And I think this is what Robert teaches you every day before making a sound investment decision. One of the key things you need to ask yourself is, is this investment going to add me value? Now, when you look at the scoreboard of our country as we sit, one critical thing that Gerald mentioned, if you look at inflation currently sits around 6.4, 6.5. And when you look at the average, and again, I said we're going to use this for demonstration purposes, but then you can use different averages depending on where your money is sitting. So if your money is sitting in a circle, you can use the average that you get on an annual basis. If you actually purchased a bond, you can use the average that you're currently getting as your coupon rate, and you can use averages across all the other investment vehicles that you're using. So most importantly, if inflation currently sits at 6.5%, as an investor, when you look at what is the current average within money market, right? It's around 8.9. Now, when you remove the 15% withholding tax, that means that some of those investments actually beat inflation by around 1.1%, right? So that means that then your money is actually sitting to build liquidity, which is very important. You're beating inflation. But what we want to do through the next session is to actually show you how you can leverage that money sitting within that money market fund as an example, or the coupons you get from your bond to actually activate another product that is going to give you massive gain, of course, as an investor. I'll not go through this because this is what Gerald mentioned. I mean, if you have 1 million currently sitting in your bank account, very sorry, in the next 10 years, that money will be worth 500,000. It would have not done anything for you. So as investors, the key thing that I want us to have in mind as we go through the demo now is that 6.5% inflation, because any investment decision that we do from here henceforth, it has to actually beat this number, which means we have to gain more and above what we currently see as the inflation rate in the market. So just to be very keen and to be very careful, what I'm saying is we are talking about diversifying. We're not talking about closing. So keep your MMF. And I mean, we've seen fantastic things that the money market fund has done. I mean, you're able to unlock liquidity within 24 hours. You can do that without any penalty. Very good regulation within that space, of course, led by the CMA. And of course, that already beats what we currently traditionally use within within our markets. It beats keeping money in your bank account. It actually beats keeping money in your pillowcase. And so most important, as we go through this conversation, one of the key things I want you to understand is we're not saying switch from the portfolio you're having. What we're saying is we want to use the portfolio that you have, and we want to send your money to go and get more returns for you. So as we go into the demo now, there are three things I want you to have at the back of your mind. I think this is the first time this is actually being shared across this product. And actually, if you're an Abojani investor, you're getting to hear this for the first time. And this is the secret that I want you to use when you're running your numbers, because this is money you get back even before your investment begins to actually earn money for you. And if you get this, then all the sessions that we're going to run after this are going to make sense for you. So remember, Gerald mentioned about the flexibility about the product. How you win is actually look at how do I get discounts before I even put my first shilling, of course, with Sanlam Allianz live. So if you choose a quarterly option, you're actually going to get a discount of around 4%. If you go for a semi-annual option, you're going to get a discount of 6% even before the money begins to work for you. And then most importantly, if you go for an annual premium payment option, you're going to get 8%. And remember, this is over and above the return that actually Gerald talked about. So with that in mind, let's go to our first persona, right? And we want to look at MMF as an example. However, I think as we said, you can look at the different portfolios that you have, and this would actually make sense to you, right? So let's meet Adija. I mean, Adija is a business lady who's worked hard. She currently has a portfolio of around 2 million shillings. She's very committed to wealth creation journey than her relationship. So actually she eats fair, right? Anakula fair. And what that means then is she's able to actually save 20,000 Kenya shillings on a monthly basis on her MMF. So if you look at that snapshot, this is somebody who has a solid plan. They already have 2 million. Every month they're throwing 20,000 shillings into the MMF because they're quite excited about the interest that they're able to generate there. So if you look at Adija in her future, which is 10 years from now, just by continuing doing what she's currently doing, Adija is going to unlock in 10 years over 7.8 million shillings. But hold on. What I want us to do and what I want us to do is we're not going to change Hadija's plan, right? We're going to advise Adija to leave the 2 million exactly where it sits. We're going to advise Adija to continuously continuously contribute the 20,000 shillings in an MMF fund. But what Adija is going to do equally is Adija is going to send her money to activate a new product. And this product we're talking about today is the Flexi Future Plus. And Adija, she's a very wise investor. So what Adija would do is, remember the previous slide? Adija is going to go for the discount. So since Adija has an existing portfolio, Adija is going to send an instruction and, of course, tell Abojani, I want you every year to actually deposit 300,000 shillings in this new product in this new investment vehicle that I want to activate for myself. So the key question you'll ask yourself is, if Adija does that every year, what will happen to her MMF fund? And what will be the results that she's going to realize in 10 years from a Flexi future fund? And remember, the 8%, that's why you're seeing that. 8% will reduce her instruction. So every year, she will not be sending 300,000 shillings. She'll actually be sending 276,000 shillings to this incredible product that has actually been released by Sanlam Allianz. So let's do the math and give me a minute as I switch so that we can do this. We can do this together. So I will just switch my screen. Remember, there's a chat box there, and we've actually dropped a link which you can use to actually join with me. So I will go to the calculator. We want to understand what that would mean for Hadija. So remember the age of Hadija, 1990 there. She's around 35, 6-year-old. Hadija is female. So let me just capture her details there. Allow me just to quickly capture phone number. And most importantly, I think as we go, referral code is important because we have goodies for you. So, I mean, if you want to reposition your portfolio, why don't you go ahead and type there, I'm an Abojani. The word is Abojani investor, right? So once you do that, there are different ways on how we can actually try and figure out what Adija will have. So remember, we said the only thing Adija is saying is instructing his money market fund to begin paying premiums for her Flexi Future investment product. So here's a budget. She wants to send 300,000 shillings on an annual basis. She wants to invest for 5 years, for 10 years. There we go. And again, given the flexibility of this product, she can decide I want to enjoy my payout as a one lump sum payment, or I can also adjust and get my money as I want in 4 installments. So let's go for the first, which is one installment. So if you look at that, Adija will be sending, remember the number is 270, not 300,000 because of the 8% we talked about. So Adija is sending an instruction to her MMF fund manager to be sending 300,000 for this new product. So what that means for Adija is within 10 years, this Flexi Future Plus product is going to give her back 5.34 million. Did you catch that? 5.34 million. Let's look at that in relation to, remember the 7 million that we're talking about if the money was just sitting in the money market fund. So I'll switch back. We'll come back to this calculator and run more experiments. So let me switch back to our slides because it's something very magical that is happening behind the scenes for Adija. Look at that, right? Same scenario, right? If Adija had kept her 2 million and 20,000 shillings every month in the MMF in 10 years, she will have what? 7.8 million. Now, by just sending an instruction to activate Flexi Future Fund, enjoying the 8% discount every year, you can see on the second slide here, this is how the portfolio for Adija would look like, right? Money market fund will be 7.8 million. Now, by that simple instruction, the money market fund will not actually decline, right? So many of you were actually asking yourself questions. If I actually do that, would that mean then I will not have liquidity when I need money, when I have emergencies? Actually, the beauty about it is Adija is actually using what Albert Einstein talked about, the 8th wonder of the world, which is compounding interest and the time value of money. So what that tells you is by just doing that simple instruction, Adija is going to unlock 8.9 million Kenya shillings. And when you compare the two investment options that she had for herself, that means by just doing that simple instructions, Adija has been able, within 10 years, she's been able to unlock a further 1 million Kenya shillings in her portfolio. And I mean, you can run different scenarios. If you have 3 million, if you have 4 million, you have 10 million in your money market fund, you can decide to send different instructions to actually activate a new product that is going to grow at a much faster rate. And the benefit of that, if you look at also her money market fund, it doesn't stagnate, right? Remember, she started with 2 million. She's continuously contributing the 20,000 shillings. 2 products combined into one, and you end up, of course, winning. And I think, as you can see at the tail end, she will have around 8.9 shillings. So let's stop there for a minute and look at this other gentleman called Kena, right? So this is not Crazy Kena. This is a different Kena altogether. So Kena is 29 years old. Kena is actually a social media creative. She's just run a couple of gigs. Kena now has over 500,000 sitting in a money market fund. And Kena is looking at in a similar model compared to what Adija did. If Kena send an instruction, right, to activate Sanlam Flexi Future Plus product, how would his portfolio look like in the next 10 years? So this is another very good example of how you can actually use the discount as well as the amazing return to actually get to the numbers. So remember, initially the instruction was to send the 300,000 annually, and you get the 8%. Now Kena decides, oh, I don't have a lot of money. I'm still building myself. but I think I still need to actually get to a very significant number, because my ambition is actually to buy that Audi A3 or that Audi A5 within the next 10 years, right? Because lazima, what he wants to do, he wants to make sure that then, as a social media person, lazima atese. So most importantly, Kena decides every quarter, I'm going to send an instruction, right? I'm not going to pay premium separately. I will send an instruction to my money market manager. Could be my SACCO where my money is sitting. Could be the coupon that I get every 6 months from my bond. I want to do only 45,000 Kenya shillings every month, right? Remember, this is money working for you, right? Remember the compounding interest and how it works. So Kena sends an instruction. Every quarter, please send 45,000 to this new product that I've activated with Sanlam Allianz called Flexi Future Plus. So let's go back and look at what would happen for Kena. So let's go back. Remember, this is already shared with you on the chat, and you can actually use this calculator to run your own projection. So allow me just to refresh. We start afresh. All right, so let's look at now. And I'll just run the numbers quickly here for demo purposes. So Kena is male. Again, I'll just use that for number. Don't forget the code if you want to repurpose. Abojani investor. All right, and then let's see. So again, he's working with a budget. He's sending an instruction. I want to do 45,000 shillings quarterly. This will take 10 years to mature. I want one lump sum, right? Look at that. So Kena is sending an instruction to his portfolio manager. I want to rebalance my portfolio, right? I want to be sending 45,000 shillings quarterly, enjoying a 4% discount as the money hits the account, for him to be able to unlock, of course, that 3 million for him to be able to access his Audi A3. You can look at the number. That means in 10 years, Kena will actually be able to get, and it's a guaranteed. The moment you sign this is contract, it's binding. There are no discussions around, oh, this year the rates went up. Last year we had election, the rates were very bad. No, it's guaranteed, and it's actually guaranteed for 10 years. Kena will get 3 million, right? Let's look at both scenarios. If Kena decided he's gonna keep, let's go back to the same discussion we had. Remember, Kena has 500. He's also loyal to his investment. Every month he's just throwing in 10,000 there, and then he decides to send a 45K instruction for activation of Flexi Future Plus, which is a payment for every quarter. Now, if you look at the math down there, right? The question that we are still asking ourselves, in case something happens to Kena in year 4 or in year 6, will he still have liquidity, right? Remember, he's a content creator. At times, maybe he needs money to run some errands, which he can fill once he gets paid for his gig. And as you can see, from the start to year 10, Kena will have sufficient liquidity in his portfolio, be it money market fund, be it a SACCO, for him to be able to easily access and actually take care of what we call life expenses, right? Most importantly, if in year 6, Kena's girlfriend comes and says, hey, we need to actually have a wedding. Kena can actually say, okay, he can pull 15,000 from 372,000, right? Buy her a ring and then delay it for just another 3 years to make sure that then, one, he will have the 249,000 Kenya shillings in MMF, but most importantly, he will unlock the full maturity benefit for this for the Flexi Future Plus product. So look again at this comparison, right? Similar thing we did for Adija, similar thing we're also doing for Kena. And I think, as you say, numbers never lie. So if Kena had decided that he would not balance his portfolio, he will just continue to contribute in his existing portfolio. At the end of the day, Kena will still have very good growth within his, could be money market fund, could be his SACCO, where he will get or unlock around 2.87 million Kenya shillings. But if Kena decides to send that instruction, right? Look at that. Just to instruct that, hey, my portfolio manager, Mr. Robert, kindly just send 45,000 every month to this new product. By just doing that instruction, Kena unlocks over 380 thousand Kenya shillings. But I think one of the key things I'll also show you later on is he's also able to earn more from what we call tax relief, and we're gonna unpack that as we go through the most importantly the next slides. Great. So I think we can jump into the next case study, and this is option 2. Remember, we have 3 to go, and I think we're saving the best for the last. Now, this is somebody who has 3 million. Remember the question we're asking ourselves: where do I take this 3 million Kenya shillings? Do I go to Kamulu? And I mean, there's something that happens with Kenyans when they have such amount of liquidity. You will walk into a car yard with a lot of bravado, going into one Prado, and the other, you will call your, of course, most importantly, land dealers, asking them about 5 acres in Kamulu. I mean, you will do all sorts of projections. You will visit houses that are being sold because you have liquidity and you're looking for options on where you're going to actually extract more value. And that is actually the center of the conversation today, right? We don't want you just to make a decision for the sake of making a decision. We want to ensure that then the decision that you're making is actually creating more value for the money that you are putting in. So allow me to use again this example because this is a hot topic. I know we all love property. We are all holding property. We need to keep on holding property because we do that, of course, because of different reasons. But let's learn the message home by just doing a comparison, right? What we are saying is we're not saying don't own property. What we're saying is look at different alternatives. You can own property, you can own an MMF, and you can also activate, of course, a Flexi Future investment plan. So let's look at this, and this is a scenario. I mean, it's just good to ground what we currently see them in the market so that we are able to realistically look at the numbers. And this speaks to the question that somebody asked. We will look at if today I have 3 million shillings and I need to send the whole of this money to this Flexi Future Plus, what would it do for me? So let's look at an off plan. You've been, of course, approached by somebody selling something off plan. They tell you within 24 months we'll have this house up and running. So you just deposit that money. You will secure the best, of course, studio for you that has a view to Karura, and no one will actually interfere with, of course, your views. What we know, I mean, and you look when you run the statistics, assuming that, of course, then the house is completed within 24 months. Within the next 10 years, you enjoy 70% occupancy rate. You have one of the best landlords, and they just charge you 2,500 a service charge, and at the end of it, you want to sell it, which means then you'll need to incur some things like stamp duty. So I need you to have that at the back of your head as the cost and the complexity associated with actually owning and having a house, right? Now let's look at a scenario where the same investor decides, okay, one, I think the house thing is good. I mean, we all love to own property, but I want to look at an investment option where my money is going to work even harder for me, right? So let's go back to our demonstration and we look at what a single premium would actually do for me as an investor. So again, allow me to refresh the screen and I'll run the math again. We can use almost same age for projection purposes. We'll say this is actually Mr. Robert, who has 3 million shillings, right? Oh, and don't forget, always remember when you're doing this, add the Abojani investor as the code for you to enjoy the goodies. So let's look at this. So I have 3 million shillings. I want to just invest once. That means I want to give you all the money. I want to give Sanlam Allianz all the money and see what that means in 10 years. Again, I just want in 10 years to receive my full amount. And then with this option, one of the other key, and I think this is genius from Sanlam Allianz, one of the other key things they've done is once you do the single injection, what they've done is they actually provide you with a protection. If you noticed, when you go for one-time payment, you're actually required to activate a protection because, I mean, 10 years is a very long period of time. Something can happen. And what we want to do is guarantee that then in the event that thing happens, we will still live to the promise that we actually agreed to realize with you. So look at that. I'm throwing in 3 million shillings right there. What you'll get back in actually 10 years, you're going to unlock 8 million Kenya shillings. So for the mathematicians in the room, that's more than 2.8. That's 2.8x the money that you've actually put in. But then the beauty about this also is this protection that is included, right? And we'll unpack how much of a protection you're going to get, right? And there are different options that you can actually unlock. You can say 50%. I want to get 50% protection on this. And what that means is 50% of the 8.3, that's around 4 million, right? So I am investing, but at the same time, I'm protecting myself. So what that means is if I live to maturity, I get my 8 million, my 8.3 million Kenya shillings. If something happens to me down the road, in year 2, in year 3, God forbid, your creator decides that it's time for you then to go and, of course, enjoy milk and honey with him. What that means is then you've also secured your family, because your family is also going to actually be given the 4 million Kenya shillings. So let's look at that scenario and how it compares to you buying that house. So let me switch back and let's look at them pair to pair, right? I don't know how Sanlam Allianz did this, but again, as I said initially, I mean, it takes a giant like Sanlam Allianz with over 240 experience to actually figure out such an amazing product in the market. If you actually just put your money, the 3 million Kenya shillings. Yes.
240 years.
240 years. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, these guys were there when Titanic was sinking. So, I mean, yeah, it's a lot of years of experience. Thanks for that, Robert. So when you look at that, and I think the message that we're putting here to get together for the investors in this conversation is time value of money is very important. When you're making a decision on where you want to send your money, make sure that then your money is going to work hard. And within that period of time, is going to bring you more soldiers to grow your, of course, wealth portfolio. So if you look at this, if you're actually going to just buy a studio, right, and you're enjoying that rental income of around 20,000 Kenya shillings, the value of that, and we actually use an average that we're currently seeing in the market of around 8% per year in terms of growth in the value of your house. One of the key things you'll notice is the studio, right, before tax and costs. In the 10th year, what you'd have in terms of wealth would be around 7.4 million. And this factors in the value of the house appreciating at an average of between 7 to 8% per year, plus the rental income that you're going to collect, which is 20,000 shillings per month. But then when you compare that with this new investment product called Flexi Future Plus, remember the math that we just did? Flexi Future Plus is going to give you 8.3 million. At that point, I don't know if you decide to buy 3 condos, you're going to decide to buy actually 3 studios and actually now grow, of course, your agenda around property. And you look at the numbers when you, and I think this is something very important. As investors, remember, one of the key things we were looking at when we started was we need to beat 6.5% because that is the current inflation rate, right? So when you look at that, the idea is you need to have a balanced portfolio, right? Short-term liquidity is very important where you're able to access, maybe you're doing it for your stock, maybe you're doing it because you need to actually realize a milestone in your life. But most importantly, the thing that we realize with short-term investment options is we have rapid changes in what we call interest rates. We saw that, 2 to 3 months ago, we've seen the interest rate actually come down. But then as Robert mentioned, how you balance your portfolio is you look at long-term investment products like the Flexi Future Plus as an example to really give you a steady guaranteed rate across the years. If you look at just this model that we've done, what that valuation tells you is if you do a single premium of 3 million shillings today for 10 years, Sanlam Allianz is actually guaranteeing you a return of around 10.7% annually. And I repeat that. Sanlam Allianz is actually guaranteeing you a return of 10.7% annually. That means you can, as an investor, you can actually sleep very comfortably because this is guaranteed. It's not if or when? And I think, Robert, I just want to ask you this question. What is the current average S&P return over the last 10 to 15 years?
So on average, it tends to be 10% per annum.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that means it actually mimics you putting your money in an index fund, one that is known globally, called the S&P 100. So you can sleep sound knowing that I have a guaranteed rate that I'm going to earn, of course, across the 10 years. So allow me, because of time, to move swiftly to our third and last persona. Most importantly, there's something that I want to bring as a discussion here, and then we're going to look at the calculator end to end, because we've just spoken two very critical items around investment. But most importantly, we also want to unpack, what if I become ill? What if I lose my job? Most importantly, also, what if I become disabled, right? I've been investing, I'm going for my business trip, I get into an accident. What happens if I actually go for this investment product? Because then that also makes it a key differentiator in the market. But I think we cannot stop if we don't also look at this very good demographic. This is somebody who's just started their career, and this is an investor C, right? Most importantly, this investor earns around 200,000 Kenya shillings a month. Is employed, working, of course, in a blue chip, could be a digital person working for, of course, companies globally. We know Kenyans are doing very good things on the gig space. So let's look at two things. There are three things I want to unlock as part of this discussion, right? And it's going to contribute to the time value of money. We've talked about interest. I will not belabor on that. I want to unlock the second conversation, right? And the conversation is around tax advantages, right? So, I mean, how best to do this by, we can actually just go back to the same calculator, right? So we want this guy to invest how much? Let's see. There we go. So I can do a quick check on tax calculation. So we're saying this is a person earning 200,000 Kenya shillings. And this person wants to throw in money into, of course, there you can see the moment you put in your money, this is how, I mean, I'm scared looking at my payslip these days because of, you know why, Shipsha and all those things. But I think in the next few months, they say they're going to work on that. We hope they do. But then let's see if this person decides they're going to invest on Flexi Future Plus. What tax advantage are they going to actually realize? So let's put 20,000 shillings. He wants to send an instruction to his employer every month to just send 20,000 shillings for his Flexi Future investment plan. Now, remember, this is a monthly person. So if you're able to actually do contribution on a month and you're actually running a salary, one of the key things you're going to enjoy is what we call tax relief, right? And tax relief means that you're going to reduce the amount that you are sending to KRA legally, right? This is in the law, legally. And what that means is currently, if you don't have a life investment product, this is money that you're losing within your payslip on a monthly basis. So look at that. This person without Flexi Future Plus, right, with a gross pay of 200,000 Kenya shillings, their net pay, their paid tax is 47,800. This is the money that goes into, of course, KRA as part of pay. But just by activating, deciding that I'm going to start investing on myself, Gerald said, there's so many things within the salary, but then you decide next month, I'm going to start my journey and I'm going to begin investing with myself. By the time every month your payroll manager is actually deducting you 20,000 shilling for your investment, you're gaining instantly, you're gaining 3,000 shillings. Because what happens is the government allows to up to a maximum of 60,000 Kenya shillings as a relief if you actually investing in if you purchase or invest in life insurance products. And if you do that monthly, that comes to around 5,000 Kenya shillings. So even him is not going for the maximum. He just decided, I'm going to pay myself back. I'm going to invest to pay myself back. And I'm also going to ensure that then also my government contributes to my investment. So if you do the math, the actual money that this individual is investing is not 20,000 Kenya shillings, right? Remember, on the payslip, he saved 3,000. So the actual amount that this person actually feels the pinch, right, today for a better tomorrow is actually the 3,000 minus the 20,000, which means this person on a monthly basis will only be investing how much? That's 17,000 Kenya shillings. So we've got that, right? And the maximum you can, of course, then unlock. It's normally a percentage. It's 15% of the life insurance premium that you pay, of course, then through your payee. So let's look at this individual. He's clever. He's decided I'm going to own my payslip. I'm going to get back my 3,000 shillings, right? Now you have that in mind, and I'm going to come back here and actually run a scenario for this individual, right? So when you go back, remember this, that's the number we saw, right? 20,000 shillings every month. He was supposed to be deducted 47. Now he's being deducted 44. 3,000 back to his pocket, which means the only amount that then he actually pays is around 17,000 Kenya shillings. Very important. Again, I mean, this product, if you're not yet considering investing across all those personas, I don't know what you're doing. The next sweetener is, remember, for quarterly, semi-annually, and annually, people are enjoying discounts. But Sanlam Allianz decided to say, even for somebody who is investing on a monthly basis, we want you to enjoy something that the other investors will not be able to unpack. So if you're doing a monthly investment, we are going to be giving you something called a premium holiday. Premium holiday. What that means is, as an investor, every year, 1 month, we're going to give it back to you. So assuming you start your investment in January, we know December is normally very, very tough month. That's when you have a lot of weddings, a lot of parties, you're being called left, right, and center. And what we decided is, we as Sanlam Allianz, that month we're going to tell you relax. That means every year you'll be investing for 11 months and Sanlam will be investing back for you for 1 month. So you will have what we call a premium holiday, right? 1 month of not paying your investment. And we're going to run a scenario just shortly to see how that looks like. But then when you look at that in a span of 10 years, remember the discussion is about time value of money. That means in 10 years, we're already saving you 200,000 Kenya shillings just from enjoying what we call the premium holiday. That's 20 times. How many 1 months are there in 10 years? That's 10. So 20 times 10 gives you the 200,000 Kenya shillings. So you're already unpacking, even before investment starts, you're unpacking two things. One, you're getting the tax relief. And second, and most importantly, you're going to enjoy this premium holiday. And of course, depending on when, of course, you decide to actually activate your policy, you'll be contributing to the 11th month, and the 12th month will actually be updated for you automatically. So let's run the numbers. And I want to go back to this very exciting investment tool, Flexi Future Plus calculator. You can access it. Link is on the chat. Yeah, so let's look at, we say the person is around 29. That will be how many years? Let's see, 1998, thereabout. Yes, could be. Yeah, we can work with that. So female, her name is, let's say 10. There we go. And again, remember, there's something good. If you actually want to rebalance your portfolio, all you have to say is Abojani invest. Right? And this is the final one, so that we get into the questions. So this is a person with a budget. They are not sophisticated. They're starting their journey. They want to send that 20,000 shillings every month. They want to do it for 10 years. They want one lump sum. Look at that, right? 20,000, 3.6. That's what they'll earn, right? And I want us to also do the same comparison, right? If they decided to send this money somewhere else on portfolios that don't earn, portfolios that they actually get taxed, what would that look like? Because remember, the message is we want you to balance your portfolio. We want you to, of course, diversify. So remember, when you're doing the calculation here, right, most importantly, you're seeing 20,000, right? Because that is the premium and that is the investment amount anyone needs to make every month for the next 10 years to be able to unlock 3.6 million Kenya shillings. But since you're doing this from your payslip, you will not be paying 20,000 shillings. You'll actually be paying 17,000 Kenya shillings, because remember, you're saving what? You're saving the amount for a period of 3 months, right? You're seeing the numbers there. Then let's look at how that compares with what we currently have in the market, right? Most importantly, if you just check your 20,000, you throw it in a money market fund, 3.3 million there in average. If you do it with the Flexi Future Plus, again, you're unlocking another almost 300,000 shillings difference. And this is on interest, right? So you're saving on interest, you're saving on the premium discount that we talked about. And most importantly, you're also saving on the 3,000 tax relief that the government gives you back every month. That is very important for you to be able to really unpack what, of course, that would look like from a time value of money. But then most importantly, there are other things that you might want to add into your cover. And this is where, for me, it gets very interesting. You can add a benefit of death. You can decide to add what Gerald talked about, retrenchment benefit. And when you add all these benefits, still that beats your standard. When you look at your standard investment vehicles that give you an average of around 9 to 8%, this product still, of course, outweighs them because of those three things we talked about: tax relief and premium holiday, as well as a very competitive rate of return. So let's go back and then let's now unpack. Most importantly, as we all end the session, let's unpack the full journey. So, and I'll unpack it using this customer. So remember, you can use, this product is very flexible. You can decide, remember, for one installment, 3.6 million, I might decide I want to do 2 installments. You still earn another additional 100,000 shillings. I can decide I want to be paid in 3 installments, which means every year, Sanlam Allianz, if you come down here, it's called payout schedule, right? It shows you exactly how Sanlam will pay you your money, right? So when you hit year 10 maturity, you'll get 1.2. The next year, you'll get 1.2. And then the last year, you'll also get 1.3. But again, the beauty about this product, and we know life happens. If you hit year 11, and during that year, you've just secured a deal, this deal is for 2 million, you quickly need both of the payouts so that you can actually secure the deal for yourself. As long as the policy has matured, you can come and say, I want to collect my year 11 and year 12 together, and you'll actually be able to actually be paid out. So the other things that you can actually do with the product, as we talked about, and I think as we finalize, Robert, is you can add protection, right? You can see there, this person has decided to add life insurance protection, and you can add for 50 years, you can add, sorry, for 50%, 100%, and 200%. What that means is you're securing your wealth. So if you do 50%, what that means is something happens to me as Isaac, as the investor, 50% of my wealth portfolio that I was working towards should be paid to my family. If I activate 100%, what that means is if in the second year something happens to me, my family will get 100% of what I was working towards. So like this person, they are working towards unlocking the 3.4 million so that they can get their Audi. The family will actually get that amount paid out. And also you can go all the way to 200%, and you'll be able to see how that looks like, right? So we can retain 50%. And the next thing beautiful about this product is you can also extend it as a cover, right? Depending on the journey you've taken, you can also cover those that you loved. Because one of the other key things that Robert will tell you about investing, one of the key dangers is not planning for the unforeseen circumstances, right? You might have 5 million that you've already invested in a particular portfolio, but if something happens to someone in your family, that is going to set you back. And one of the key things you will do is you'll go back to that portfolio. You will dig in to really try and secure that person in your family. So you can add your spouse. I'll add a spouse just for demonstration purposes. Of course, Z there. And again, the beauty about the product is we know African people, we understand our culture. So that means you can add more than one spouse. Like in Usipite, don't pass 2. You can only have 2 spouses. And then lastly, most importantly, you can also add children into your portfolio. But allow me to run a scenario where I'm just adding one spouse. And then most importantly, it's a very transparent product. Before you make an investment decision, we want you to be able to see how your numbers will change based on what you activate. You see, we already have, I already have a life benefit. I can activate it for my spouse. You can see the numbers changing in real time. I can go ahead and say, oh, look, man, 10 years is very long. What if I get diabetes, right? What if I get cancer? I think we've also seen something recently in the media, people complaining about pancreas and liver cancer. So I also want to make sure that maybe myself, I'm covered for critical illness, right? So I can actually activate that. And then most importantly, we also give waivers, right? You know, there are some diseases that once they get you, you'll not be able to earn, right? You'll not be able to generate revenue. So you can say, cover me for critical illness, and at the same time, please waive my investment premiums, so that in the event I get cancer, as an example, I will not need to pay for this policy, but I'll just sit and nurse my cancer, and the policy will pay out the benefit at the end of it. So you can, again, that's a cover that we provide. In case of permanent total disability, right? You got into an accident, you've actually lost total mobility, which means the only thing you can eat, you can't write, you can't walk. That means you cannot be productive as you used to be. You can add that. You can also add a waiver for that, which means then Sanlam Allianz steps in to take care of that. And then most importantly, this person is employed. AI is here. The scare is retrenchment. You don't know what will happen in the next 2 to 3 years, right? So you can say, okay, so if that happens, give me a break for 6 months, and let's see, so that I can repurpose my life, I can plan myself and be able to continue with this lucrative product. It still beats existing products. Remember the slide I show you, it's actually around 3 million, 3.3 million. I've added all these benefits. I've covered myself. I've covered my spouse. I've added a premium waiver, and I'm still getting back 3.3 for 3.39 million. Wow. That's exciting, right? So, I mean, and that's the beauty about this product. You can use it to actually drive the dream that you have. If you want to go for pure investment, you can use it to actually unlock full value for investment. If you want to go for investment and protection, you can bring those two together, so that then as you work to build your wealth, you're also securing yourself and, most importantly, your loved ones. And then most importantly, there are different ways on how you can do this. If you want to proceed, you can email yourself this quotation, which will directly be sent to you. So, I mean, let me just do to show you as we learn. Robert, I think in the meantime, we can be getting questions. So you can email yourself so that you can go ponder. And most importantly, you need to do this so that you can have a candid conversation with your portfolio manager, right? Go to akibaplus.co.ke, look for Flexi Future, run the calculator, get your quotation, go back to your financial advisor and tell them, look, this is what these guys want to give me. How can we repurpose? How can I plan my portfolio to ensure that then I can enjoy this new product that Sanlam Allianz has actually brought into the market? And then most importantly, we know that financial decisions are not made impromptu. So most importantly, one of the other key things you can do for you to be able to come back easily, you can save your quote. So that next time, if you want to start from where you will be starting, you just click save your quote, you add your ID number, and of course, you will be able to retrieve your quote at any particular point for you to progress the conversation with your financial advisor. So if your financial advisor is Robert, go there, say you want to save your quote. That is not to save. Email, request a callback. If it was to save my quote, and I come here, and I'll just show you an example. I can enter my ID number. So let me just copy this. And if I want to find a quote here, and I search, it will actually bring this quote for me. And if I want to have real-time engagement with my financial advisor, I will save my quote using the quote ID, or I'll save my quote using my, of course, I'll register my ID number, and then I can retrieve. And if I retrieve that quote, me together with my financial advisor will actually run these simulations together and find what balanced portfolio would actually look like for me. So I think I will stop there. You can see automatically I'm getting my quotation from Sanlam Allianz. send directly into my email, and I'm able to see and I'm able to have that conversation. Look, I'm doing 20,000 monthly. This is how the return looks like. How are you going to advise me to proceed? So you can actually do that. But most importantly, we're going to activate also a digital journey next week. What that means is, as you have the conversation with your financial advisor, you can come back into this digital tool and you'll be able to activate your journey end to end. Whether you're in Kenya or you're actually joining us from diaspora, you'd be able to begin your investment journey and balance your portfolio across the rich investment options that you have today. So, Robert, I want to stop there. I need to get a sip of water as we welcome the questions from our lovely audience today. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much, Gerald and Isaac. And I told you people, usually Abojani, you are the trailblazers. You start things and it becomes industry. So we set culture here at Abojani. I think before 1 million challenge, used to hear funny things like 52 weeks savings, people would save 100 bob per month. But these days, you hear everyone is talking about millions, which is important because you can see clearly there's no household that doesn't need 1 million in Kenya, because 1 million can only give you 10,000 Kenya shillings per month. So a demonstration webinar is to just jog your mind to tell you that we need to get closer to numbers, because that is actually what your financial goals are all about. So thank you very much. So we'll be sharing the recordings. And as we proceed, I also want to hear the testimonials from the chat. So those who have gone through Abojani Masterclass, please share your testimonials. Someone is saying whoever gave rise to Abojani idea, God bless him. Huyo jamaa amenitoa kwa shida mingi. Kwani ulikuwa kwa shimo gani jamani? Anyway, but that's culture, and this is going to be a dinner table conversations everywhere we are. Tomorrow we have finance for teens, so it's going to be household. So if you are not in Abojani community and network, tafadhali uingie, because from 2030 it's going to be crazy. You can see we are talking 5 years now, 6 years now, 10, and you can see how the numbers are growing. So I've seen a question here that Gerald has answered. So that was the duration that you'd need for the product, and he says 5 to 17 years. So clearly, we've known here that time value of money, it relies heavily on time. So time is your friend. Like it was said that time basically gives you free money. And that's the only advantage you have as a young person. Let no one lie to you that if you are 25, there's something unique in you. Everyone has been 25. The advantage you have is time. So if you're 35, you'll come back and realize that. So I've seen some people saying here.
Maybe Robert, I can answer a few questions I think I picked up, if you allow me.
Yeah, so a minute, then you proceed. So someone here is saying that they have 3 spouses. My friend, if you decide to think big, also you should have a bigger wallet. So it's complaining that you're only allowing 1 spouse. Anyway, so you can answer that on the spouse.
Yeah, that was the most interesting one that I saw. I think it's a hot discussion that is going on through men. It started with somebody, I think, Akukujenja said he has 4 wives. That was, who is that? King. Then there was Joylene, I think, asking different questions. I think that's the hot topic that is going on. I think we'll answer it when the Q&A comes in.
So we are now in the Q&A session.
Okay, let me start maybe with the hot topic in the chat box. They said that is an underperformance according to Eswatini culture. If you have 3, so the Luo men who are there who are said if you are disadvantaged because you have 4, you've been told that is a low performance in terms of that. If you go to Swaziland, so what we're saying is that you can cover with each particular policy. Remember, with the life policy, you do not have a limit of how many policies you can purchase. You can buy as much as you can afford. And if you can afford 4 spouses, 5 spouses, 6 spouses, you can select 2 for the first, buy another policy, take another 2 for the other 2. If you have 6, you can take another policy, add the other 2. So we do not limit you to the number of policies you can buy. If you can afford 4, I can assure you can afford 10 policies. And you can actually even buy 1 for each of those particular spouses. You can actually buy a policy on behalf of somebody else. They will be the policy owner, you will be the premium payer. So nothing stops you from covering as many wives as you wish. You can take but in one policy, you can only cover a maximum of 2, but you can take multiple policies as much as you can afford. So nothing limits you from taking up any policy and covering any spouse that you might have. I saw Sir Jeff asking what happens what has been the returns for the last 10 years of the Flexi Future Plus. Fortunately, Jeff, this is a product that was launched just last month. It is a new product in the market, a fantastic product in the market. We have seen the returns, and we can guarantee you the life policy. The beauty about a life policy, it is a contract. You've entered into a contract, and it's a legally binding contract, which states that this is the amount that we are guaranteeing we are going to pay. So it's a document. It's like a deed or a bond that you have bought, that you are sure you're going to get this return at the end of that particular period. There was anonymous for Akuku Danger Jr. with 4 wives, I think, from different countries. Different flexi features allow me to cover them. Yes, you can cover as many spouses like I mentioned, as long as you're the policy owner and you're a resident of Kenya or a citizen of Kenya. You can buy as many policies as possible. Whoever you put as your beneficiary is up to you, and whichever country they are. As long as they're your spouse, you can be able to include them. There was enjoy the session question: is the rate of return predetermined? Yes, the rate of return, that is king. The rate of return is predetermined at the point of purchase. Remember what Isaac has presented. If you put in this amount of money, it'll give you an end result of what you will get. That is already a predetermined amount. But we can give you tips when we have the discussions. We will tell you, if you put in this amount of money for this particular period of time, definitely you will get better returns, because the more you invest, the longer you invest, the younger you are, also gives you more returns. So it depends. There are many factors that you look into, but not very complicated. So the key factors is, if you have time and you have the money, you can get better returns. If you have more money and you have a longer period to invest in, you can get more returns. So the shorter the period, the returns are slightly lower. But if you let us invest for a longer period, the returns will be much higher. But that we're saying, we're guaranteeing you, is above what the market can offer at 10% and above. Then I think the last one that I saw was, if that is Joylene, if I take an option of 10K monthly, what will be my sum assured? If I am paying monthly compared to when I'm paying annually, will the amounts be different? Yes, it will be different. Is the discount on annual payment optional or applies automatically? The discounts applies not just only for annually, it applies annually 8%, semi-annually 6%, and quarterly 4%. On the monthly basis, however, you will not get a discount, but the returns and the rates will be different as compared to that. Remember, anytime you get a discount, it means that you're getting less money invested, but you're getting the same returns that are there. So I think I've answered your question, Joylene. If not, you can still type. Then finally, for 3 million example, in case of demise, what does the family receive? So the rule of insurance has 2 options, because death can occur through 2 circumstances, either through natural causes, which we refer to as sicknesses and the like. If that happens, you are guaranteed over 100% of the sum assured. So if the sum assured is 3 million, and that is your cover amount, your family will be given 3 million. But if it is through accidental causes, through an accident or any other form that is not natural, you will receive 200% of that particular amount, which is 6 million. Because we know for accidental, it's something that was unplanned for, hence the risk can be covered twice. It's more sudden. Then for natural causes, we pay 100% of your sum assured. I think those are some of the questions that I've picked. Don't know if there's another one that I've left out. Isaac, you can check. Robert, I think I answered on the term. In terms of term, yes, you can invest between a period of 5 to 17 years. Can this apply to SACCOs? Yes, I think Isaac mentioned it clearly. You can get the dividends that you're getting out of the SACCO and invest it on an annual basis, semi-annual basis. But in most SACCOs, it gives you returns on an annual basis. You can invest your returns into that particular aspect. Then again, I think there was somebody talking about flexibility of the guaranteed maturity. It said it's a guaranteed maturity benefit. Can you change the payments? Yes, you can. There's a flexibility of increasing or reducing the amount, because as we move on in life, our goals keep on changing. Maybe I wanted my child to go to Yale. Now maybe I don't want my child to go that particular school. Maybe I wanted to buy an Audi. Maybe after 4 or 5 years, I think my goal has changed, and now no longer want to buy an Audi. Maybe I want to buy a chopper. Can I add more money into that particular account? Yes, you can. At the same time, things happen. Maybe you are doing very well today, then tomorrow things happen. It's life. Your money can be, maybe your income can go down. Maybe you might lose a job, get a job that is paying lower than what you used to earn. Then you need to reduce your amount. We give you that flexibility of reducing the amounts that you're paying, either on a monthly basis, on a semi-annual basis, quarterly. So there is that flexibility so that you do not get stressed and say, okay, these guys I was paying 20, now I can no longer afford 20. Yes, we will come, we'll have a discussion, and we'll be able to help you see how much you can be able to afford to pay. And we'll give you other solutions that you can be able to take. Remember, there's a premium holiday that is supposed to, we will help you see how to plan for that particular business. I think those are the questions that I've seen, unless there's one that I have not seen.
There's an interesting one here, Gerald. Somebody is asking. This is a clever investor. He's actually called Joseph Auko. He's saying, "Can I send instruction to my I don't want to mention the name, my CIC fund manager to send money to Sanlam Flexi?" Yes. So if you want to earn the money directly from your current money market fund, you can talk to your advisor. You can send, and I think as Gerald mentioned, we are able to package something that then will run with the portfolio that you currently have.
Okay, all right. So thank you very much, everyone. I think we are running out of time, but we are very, very grateful to all of you who have joined. So we said that this is a celebration for the 80th Abojani Masterclass. And remember, when we started, the sessions were just on WhatsApp. And here we are today. And you've created a movement. All those conversations that you see on YouTube, on X, about financial literacy, the movement started right here. Just a word of caution to you to work with licensed players and individuals. So don't just listen to anyone. Remember, money is just like physical health. And personally, I have the CIFA. I'm certified to talk about financial investment options here in Kenya, Abojani as well. And we have staff like 4 who are also licensed. On top of that, this year I sat for an exam on insurance as well. So I have proficiency. So that is what we do to show you that we respect your money. So protect yourself from the information overload. And our conference, the theme is actually going to be in terms of investing intelligently. So it's very, very important that we learn to be very to be very progressive, quality-wise, the quality of decisions that you make, and also protect yourself from the information overload, the activities. Maras Jikan General is going 3 times. Let those who are 12 years or 15 years old be easily excited with things in the market. For us who are here, our goals are 3 years, 5 years, 10, and you can see we can plan. And now you've seen you have your coupon for infrastructure bonds, you have your money market. Play a portfolio, please. So portfolio means you think portfolio. So let's stop that thing of real estate, this special fund is better than this. If I hear someone saying that, I'll know that they don't understand money, because money is a portfolio. You get it? There's a time you might find infrastructure bonds doing well, stock market, insurance, but you have a portfolio, you'll never need to worry. I have no idea what is exciting people right now, because I know once you have a portfolio, the seasonality is actually absorbed by the portfolio. But in the long run, the Olympic gold medal, like we say, you can write down in Abojani communities, home ownership and financial freedom number. Once you have those, that is it. So maybe in 2030, we can now form a club for things like hiking, marathon. We'll just be running around Nairobi after we have achieved our goals. But you have to do the hard work of planning, and we'll be bringing more and more experts. So we are really excited, and we want to thank Isaac and Gerald. So you can see they're very senior people, and it's because of the respect that they have for you as a Abojani community. That is why they've come to speak to you. And remember, Sanlam Allianz is the biggest non-bank financial services company in Africa. Next week, we are going to talk about retirement. Then the week after, early next month, we are taking you to NASDAQ. We are going to talk offshore. So let's go step by step. Today was day 1. And the biggest idea is time value of money. There's no bigger idea in money management than time value of money. So I'll ask Isaac and Gerald, I want you to tell us one thing that is going to make us millionaire or multi-billionaires as we live here. Your closing remarks. So you can start with you, Isaac, then Gerald.
All right, thanks a lot, Robert. And I think I have to commend you for the great work that you're doing to really drive financial literacy. And I think I'll end the session with a very with a very good word that comes from Benjamin Franklin, and he said, investment in knowledge pays the best interest. And I think what we've done here today as partners is we've invested in giving knowledge to you as an investor. And that in itself will begin paying you interest if you actually take action. So we look forward to engage more, as Robert mentioned, and we look forward to helping you unlock more value from the portfolio that you have. Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you, Isaac. Gerald, your closing remarks.
Thank you very much, Robert, Isaac, my partner, and all viewers that are there in this particular webinar. I think mine is just simple. Insurance is not a competing product. It's a complementing product to your already existing solutions that you have in the market. So if you want to complement what you already have, the best solution that is out there for you today is Flexi Future Plus, because it gives you all the things that you need: your protection, your peace of mind, your returns, your tax benefits, and definitely, and most importantly, your guaranteed maturity, returns, and with the flexibility to do whatever you want with your money and your savings. And that is what will get you there. If you don't have flexibility with your money on where to invest, then you will never get that big money that you're thinking about. Thank you, Robert, and thank you for all the watching, for listening.
Yeah, so thank you. And I want to thank all the people who have come to Abojani Masterclass. And the good thing is that they do refer their friends and family. So we are a company that enjoys a lot of referrals, and then we grow because there's a lot of wisdom and lived experiences that people share in Abojani community. So all of you can clap for yourself. We appreciate you. And we also appreciate the brands that we partnered with along the way to help empower you with the skill set and tool sets. And finally, the Abojani team. So there's a team behind this. So some people think it's all about me. Actually, I'm not the smartest person at Abojani. Mi ni kuongea tu na hype. But we have Eunice behind the scenes, Purity, we have Edwin, we have Brenda, Dave, Benjamin, quite a number of people. And also we have some consultants and freelancers that you work with. And we have big funds. So I see people like Joseph Ouko, Raikanya. We have there are people whose bloods bleed Abojani. I've been told by their family members. They usually ask me, kwani mnapeaga watu nini? But it's because when your money is in money market fund, you relax. When the dividends come, people have told me that inaponyesha. If you are sick, you'll become okay if the dividends come home. So let's continue that spirit. And also let's also engage our family members and especially the young people with this. So thank you. Enjoy the rest of your evening or day, depending on where you're connecting from. I'll see you next week on Wednesday.